tankinis, bikinis, monokinis. Walmart is the best kept secret for stylish summer swimwear. Make a splash with hot summer essentials like beach bags, sandals, and more. Find your style at Walmart.
Sergeant and Mrs. Smith, you're going to love this house.
Is that a tub in the kitchen?
There's no field manual for finding the right home. But when you do, USAA Homeowners Insurance can help protect it the right way. Restrictions apply.
Okay, everybody, welcome to the latest episode of All Too Real 2. My name is Michael E. Cullen II, and with me, as always, is...
Sesame, the hallucination kid, and Carta.
Whoa, are you even here, then?
No, man, I'm like in space right now.
Whoa.
I'm on the other side of the moon, where China eventually is going to. They let me go on one of their spaceships, bro.
That was very nice of them.
Well, it wasn't a favor. It's an exchange for my loyalty to the Communist Chinese Party and to work.
Oh.
Whatever. I am now a surrogate for the Chinese Communist Party. And
So Xi Jinping, or whatever his name is your leader now?
Yeah, he's pretty chill, actually.
Yeah. Do me a favor. When you see him next time, tell him he looks like Winnie the Pooh.
Okay, you also got anything about Trump, because he's not a big fan of Trump, so I can give him a message about that as well.
Tell him that Trump looks like a Garbage Pail Kid.
I think he'll like that, actually. That's funny.
Okay. Yeah, but it's against the law. They will not let any pictures of Winnie the Pooh be posted anywhere in China because people think Winnie the Pooh looks like the leader.
Wow.
And it usually leads to him being made fun of.
That's crazy. All right, yeah.
Well, yeah, at least according to John Oliver on Last Week Tonight. So, anywho, speaking of fun childhood adventures, today on the show we are covering a 1993 movie entitled "The Skateboard Kid."
Yeah.
The summary, according to the Internet Movie Database, is: no one could be more bored than Zack, the new kid in town with no friends in sight, when a gang of hip skateboarding thrashers start cruising his neighborhood. Zack hopes his luck will change, but they want nothing to do with him. Then Zack makes the discovery of his life, a talking, wisecracking, magical skateboard, and suddenly skateboarding rises to an entirely new heights. That is not the movie.
It's not even close to the movie, unless that was the original story, because, yeah, that's featured in the movie, sure.
Yeah.
Not the plot of the movie. I mean,
No.
The movie has like 80 different subplots. It's so hard to figure out.
And this is actually the description that was on the back of the VHS.
Yeah, well, the file that you sent me after the movie, it shows different trailers, and it showed the trailer to this movie. The trailer has nothing to do with what the movie's actually about. And in fact, the trailer actually used the most uninteresting clips from the movie to put into the trailer instead of the cool clip. So I'm not sure who bungled that editing, because they have so many cool things they use. They used the most boring clips to put in there. The
cover of the movie too includes Zack not wearing his WoW hat, wearing some random white baseball cap. It is at least the right kid, I think. And he's wearing clothing that he never wears in the movie. He's on a skateboard that is not the skateboard from the movie. And randomly, there's a dog on the skateboard with him.
Okay.
There's not a single dog in this whole fucking movie.
So I'm starting to think maybe the script changed significantly at one point. And
either that or they just told somebody to make the poster.
Yeah. They're like, hey,
you didn't see the movie.
Exactly. Hey, man, we're doing a 90s skateboard film with a whole lot of really good actors, mind you. Like, I mean, like, for example, I was talking about Almost Famous earlier. Well, the
Yeah.
mother of William from Almost Famous, which is really interesting because I don't know her name, but she's really famous. Well,
She's not in this.
she's not? Oh, okay. Never mind.
No, it's a different actress.
All right. Well, she looks kind of like her. And you got the dude.
Yeah, she's actually Bess Armstrong. Is that who you're talking about? The woman, the main woman in the movie?
Yeah, what's her name? I forgot her name already.
Maggie's the character's name.
Maggie, yeah.
Yeah, Bess Armstrong is probably from that generation best known as the mom on My So-Called Life.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but then you have Timothy Busfield in this as Frank.
Hello.
He's known for 30-something and The West Wing, among other things. Cliff DeYoung, who is known for a lot of movies, including The Craft, Shock Treatment, Glory, The Hunger. He's still working to this day. He was on Grey's Anatomy for a couple episodes. He's in a lot of things. You know him if you see him. Then we have Trevor Lissauer as Zack. People may know him from his 2 seasons on Sabrina the Teenage Witch.
Wow.
We've got Chanel Gray, aka Chanel Workman, as Jenny. She went on to be on like One Life to Live and Bold and the Beautiful and some other things over the years, and she was also the legal guardian to her sister, who is
nobody.
Is Ariel Winter from Modern Family.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And her brother is Jimmy Workman, who played Pugsley in the Addams Family movies.
Uh-oh. Alarm bells ringing. Our fans are going to be really interested in this one.
Yeah, I know. And it's an interesting story though. I read about this, like where their mother, I guess, was kind of abusive or something to both her and Ariel. And Ariel's like a lot younger than them because she was born after this movie came out even. So,
okay.
She was born in 98. And then Jimmy took Chanel to court to try to get custody of his sister and everything. And it was like this whole thing. And then their dad ended up getting control over the finances, but Chanel still had like custody of the sister. It's a weird story, but anyways,
very good. So you're gonna laugh at me again, but is the dad? I mean, not dad. Is Frank the guy who owns like the used car place, dealership or whatever? Is that Frank? Or is that
no? It's Dan.
Sorry,
Dan.
Dan.
The name
so
character.
You're gonna laugh at me, but was that the same actor from The Flight Navigator that we just watched last couple weeks ago, or is that a different actor?
In fact,
is it him?
It is.
Okay, good. Yes. All right, well, at least I got that one right. All right.
Yes, I forgot that he was in that. I totally forgot. Yeah, he played the dad in Flight of the Navigator.
Okay, good.
Yes. So yeah. Yeah, and we also have as far as other big stars in this movie, we have Dom DeLuise as the voice of Rip. Which, in my opinion, stands for rest in peace.
Yeah.
Because Dom is no longer with us.
I mean, the movie came out 16 years before he died, but
still.
Preemptively.
It was prophetic.
Yeah.
It prophesied that one day Dom DeLuise would die, like every other human.
The prophet. But, so you should write your own Bible or Quran now.
Yeah. It's the Skateboard Kid, spiritual guide to life.
Yeah,
we call ourselves skateboard freaks. That's what we call ourselves. Our followers of this religion. We base our whole lives on the movie The Skateboard Kid, and philosophies. It teaches us a lot of lessons. A lot of parables in there, much like the Bible.
Absolutely.
And,
I mean, we had to workshop that idea because at one point we're going to call ourselves the Kid Freaks. We're like, no, that's not a good idea.
Yeah, kind of creepy there.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
I
that
went with
was-
Skateboard Freak
That's what we
because, that was the title song of the movie.
was. What?
Skateboard Freaks.
Is that what it was called?
Yeah, the movie that plays at the beginning of the movie, the song that plays at the beginning of the movie is Skateboard Freaks.
My God.
Yeah.
This movie's really very 90s. Like it's almost like peak 90s. Like 1993. To me, 1993 is peak 90s. That 93, 94. That to me is like everything after that, we start slowly getting into the 2000s culture, but 93 is
a little bit. I mean, you kind of like, I mean, I guess I consider up to like 96 because that's when I graduated from high school. So I consider that still part of the 90s. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is like, your time of like Nirvana just catching on and, and hip hop being cool and, stuff like that. And skateboarding being cool. Yeah, this movie was written by Larry Swerdlove and Gary Stewart Kaplan, directed by Larry Swerdlove, who is known as a writer for things such as The Disease They Call Fat, Jakers, The Adventures of Piggly-Winks, Sitting Ducks, Clifford the Big Red Dog, RoboCop Alpha Commando, the animated series. Muppet Babies, Chippendale Rescue Rangers, Pink Panther, bunch of stuff like that he's writer for. And this is the only thing he's ever directed. So, yeah. Yep.
Sting.
And this was produced by New Concord Pictures, which was a company that was known for low budget movies. Started by Roger Corman, the famous low budget movie producer and director who started the careers of people like Ron Howard and as far as directing goes, is Ron Howard, James Cameron, like Brian De Palma, different people like. I think Brian De Palma, I'm not sure, but a lot of people got their start working through his programs of being paid next to nothing and making movies for next to nothing. Like James Cameron started out as working for him as like a set decorator and stuff. And he stayed up all night making a spaceship and putting like little, like, I guess you call them like gibbets on the walls that make it look more like a spaceship. And he was trying to find things to put on there. And he went to McDonald's and got a bunch of styrofoam containers for Big Macs and put those on the wall and then painted them gray and stuff. And they're in the background, stuff like that. Just was being very, so just look into Roger Corman. He sadly recently passed away as well. So yeah. So here we go. I'm pretty sure that he owned New Concord. Otherwise, I'm just going off on a person that has nothing to do with the movie.
You want to get in the movie?
What's your reaction to this movie after seeing it?
Oh, my reaction is like, it's wild, bro. It's so 90s. It's radical skateboarding. No, I loved it. I thought it was awesome. God, I mean, I was, again, I took some medication right before watching it. I thought it was the coolest thing ever, so I don't know if I'd watch it again, maybe I'd feel differently, but
yeah,
I loved it, man.
Yeah, so I enjoyed it in a this is so bad it's good sort of way. Yeah, and Roger Corman was the executive producer of the movie, so I'm not going crazy. So I just had to look that up. So
yep.
Yeah, but yeah, it basically, after watching it, I felt like I time traveled back to the 90s. Because this is so like, it's like taking the year 1993 and just putting it into a blender. And this is what you get.
Into a movie, and this is what came out.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, yeah. Good times, good times. As they say in the 90s. Oh, wait.
Well, as they say in any decade, but...
Yes. But specifically, whenever I say it, I'm quoting Phil Hartman from News Radio. So
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, then it is
definitely the 90s.
Yeah.
So, what goes down in this tubular movie, man?
But tubular movie. Well, it's so hard to break everything down, so I'm just going to go through the basic, the skeleton, if you will.
Yes.
Of course, if you fall down from a skateboard, you're probably going to break some bones, which is going to hurt your skeleton. So, be careful.
Yes.
Where
much like the dog on the poster, though, there is no skeleton in the movie.
True. Yeah.
Well, actually, there's several skeletons. They're just covered by skin.
Skin, yeah. And so we begin with, I had no idea what was going on. So, like, this Zack is one of our main characters. He's skateboarding with these guys, and I'm sitting there thinking these are like his friends or whatever. But then Dad honks the horn on his car, and so he's like, oh, looks at him like, I gotta go or whatever. And so then he goes, and then his dad's like, oh, you're gonna love this new town we're living in. So I'm thinking we're going like a Karate Kid type situation, like his mom's, going all the way across the country. Same thing for his dad. That was like the last time he was ever going to see his friends. And so he was kind of like sad, he's got to do like one last skateboarding with the bros, type of thing. But no, they're moving directly into the town. So I don't know if Dad filled up for gas and Zack was just going to do some skateboarding for a few minutes, I guess. But then Frank, his father, he is starting his own TV network or TV station or whatever.
He's taking over one.
Oh, he's taking over one. Okay. And so that's why they're moving. But I guess they're moving directly into the town next over or the same town. And so he's looking at a map to try to figure out where to go. And then the skateboard kids already somehow show up where the car is. I'm not sure how they were able to do that, but okay. And they're like riding on both sides of the car, and then Zack is trying to like let them know that like, hey, there's a bunch of these kids like skateboarding right next to us. Why don't you pay attention? And then one of them has a chicken costume. Oh, that reminded me too.
Oh yeah,
go ahead.
Earlier in the movie, we had a situation where these kids are the bad kids in town or something, and before we even meet Zack, I guess, and they pull a trick on the town sheriff or whatever and take the bumper off his car or something, and with like big, like heavy duty rope or something, and they hook it to the back of it. But there's a guy that's randomly outside in a chicken suit outside of a restaurant or something yelling chicken wings.
Kind of reminds me of the Trilby Diner guy. Hamburger,
cheeseburger. Wearing a hot dog suit.
Yeah, screaming hamburger. He had identity crisis. Cheeseburger, hamburger. So right at the bat, we already got stolen property from a restaurant, damage to a police vehicle, which is already a very big crime, even if you are a minor and a delinquent. And also attempted physical assault and/or murder not homicide, but just killing of a police officer because something crushed his car.
And a guy in a chicken suit.
Yeah, exactly. So physical assault of him and stolen property of the restaurant.
Yeah, I mean, they almost committed chickencide.
Yeah. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Chickencide.
That's good. And so they hit, his dad, quote, hits someone with the chicken mask guy. And it's really the ringleader of the skateboard gang, if you could call it a gang, because they don't really get up to much, but they act like they're really tough, I guess. And like, oh, you killed.
They're no buttercream gang, mind you. I mean,
no, they're not. They're not the good guys. Like, ironically, these guys actually are a little bit more extreme than Pete from the Buttercream gang when he was supposed to be one of the toughest gangs of Chicago. These kids, worse than he was, and even they aren't that bad. But okay, and then, and so he quote hits their friend, and then he does like this whole spasm thing to make it look like he's dead or something. I don't know, and then takes off the chicken mask and like, oh, it's just me. didn't really kill me, ha ha ha, or whatever. And then like, oh, how come you didn't laugh or whatever or something? He goes, yeah, it was funny until you took your mask off or something like. I don't remember what it was. Some stupid comeback.
Yeah, while this was going on, they cut the little there's like a little U-Haul container on top of the car that has like their stuff in it, I'm assuming.
Yeah, I guess.
And these guys cut it off of the thing, and then they go into town and it falls off, and it's such a like, it seems like an important thing that the stuff falls off the car in this scene, but we never see them recover their stuff. We never see what happened after that.
Yeah, we was never mentioned either. It's just like, okay, I guess we lost some shit. Like,
it's bad writing and or editing or directing.
Yeah, it was just ridiculous. And so they go into town with, again, all their stuff missing. They go into the new house. Evidently, there's like this weird thing going on where there's like this shady used car salesman kind of, stereotype.
Oh yeah, before that, there's an important thing though that happened while they were there though. They say something, remember what your mom always said, and that's when we find out that, like the trope that, one of the parents is dead.
Right, yeah.
All these type of movies.
Yeah.
That, something about, what was it? Like, you never know what you're looking for might be right in front of you the whole time or something. Or
like that.
Some bullshit, and it's like, or things aren't as what they seem, or something. I don't know. It was some stupid.
It was life something like that. It was like a bullshit life doesn't make any sense. Just yeah,
it's I can't remember because
they okay. The reason why is because the dad wanted to go to a place called. That was the other thing too. So he's like, he wants to go find a place called Mill Creek because that's where they're supposed to live. And then he's asking the place if they know where Mill Creek is, and they're like, I don't know. I'm not sure if we ever heard that. It's like, oh yeah, it's actually, you go that way 40 miles and then you make a right, and then like they like skip her off, like they play a trick on them. But then the sign literally says to go that direction. So it's like, how are you playing a trick on them by telling them the truth? Like, I don't understand. Okay, like that makes no sense at all. That's like someone like me going like, hey, you know how to get to the Speedway gas station? And I'm like, oh yeah, you just go up there about like, I don't know, 1 mile, and then the gas station's on the left. I go, and I run away, but then they go and they're like, oh yeah, the Speedway is there. Like, I'm not sure why he thought he was playing a trick on me. Like, I don't get that, but okay. I guess these kids aren't really all put together very well. So maybe all the skateboarding is kind of giving brain damage because they like fell real hard, and then like, and now they think that they're pulling tricks on people. So I don't know.
I mean, I never thought that I would wish social media on kids, but I think these kids needed it.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know, dude. So this movie's just so wild because there's so many things going on in this movie that's hard to even. So let's just do. How about this? How about we just do like the base, because I can get lost in all these different details.
Okay, so yeah, the basic premise is we meet our like female adult, protagonist here, played by Bess Armstrong, named Maggie, and she runs this like antique shop or something, and Zack ends up helping her out of a situation where she's, I guess, hasn't paid her electric bill or something, and so he goes and changes the meter so it reads that she doesn't owe anything, which I don't think anybody would buy that. But anyways, before he does that, he sneaks into because he's being chased by the bad skateboarding gang, and he goes into her antique shop. And before this happens, I just have to address this situation.
Okay.
So she has this goldfish on the on a shelf. He puts the goldfish in this lemonade thing.
But why? Why? What was the point of this?
That's the thing. He goes in to help this lady out, but he also kills her pet.
What does that guy? How would that even help matters? Like, I don't even understand.
She gives like, lemonade to the meter reader guy, and he drinks the goldfish.
He swallows,
and somehow this is supposed to be humor.
But so she just let her own fish pet die. But again, what was the utility behind this? no pun intended, because utility guy. But like,
but they're really, I mean, script wise, there is no purpose to this at all.
Just killed her pet because you thought it'd be
funny. And it's not even funny. So that's just
That's the other thing too. So this guy is supposed to be an idiot. I get that, okay, but just because you're an idiot doesn't mean that you don't have physical sensations. So how would he not feel a slimy fish going down his throat as he's drinking lemonade? Like, wouldn't you spit something out at that point? Be like, what?
And there's no aftermath to it either. We don't see him get sick. We don't see him, nothing. There was no point to it. It's like, I mean, I wrote a screenplay last year, and then had my friend look it over, and I had like a whole like elaborate scene where people get stuck in a porta potty and stuff like that, but it didn't really move the plot forward, and it had nothing to do with the plot. I just thought it was funny and put it in there. And somebody went over my script and pointed that out to me, that there's no need for this whole scene. You can cut like these 10 pages right here. So I was like, yeah. So, at least I was smart enough before I have ever filmed anything to realize that it didn't further the story in any way whatsoever. So, yeah.
Right. It's just, I don't know, man. Like, that bothered me a little bit, because he just killed his poor pet for no reason, just because he thought it would be like a cool joke, I guess. And then, like, so we find out though later on, there's like this whole weird, like, pseudo love triangle thing going on, but not really, because like our antagonist Dan, he's like your typical like shady used car dealer type guy or whatever, and he's like comes from family money. His whole, I mean, his grandfather was like really shady too. It's like pretty much that's how they got their money, is just through tricking people and armed robbery. At one point, I think he said what his grandfather had committed, or great grandfather, I'm not sure.
Yeah, and it's like somehow they stole money from Maggie's family years ago or something,
right?
Somehow.
Because her family was wealthy too, her ancestors, and so there's like this weird like town history thing going on. And then his dealership right across the street. And when I mean right across, I mean like right across the street, like 10 steps and you're at her store type of thing. And he's like, charming and slick talking type dude or whatever. And he's always asking her to marry him, because I guess they're sort of dating, I guess. And she's like, I don't know, Dan, like, it's a little bit too soon for that. Let's just, see how this goes, kind of thing. And he's like, okay, sure, whatever. And then he wants to buy this like bubblegum machine from her, and like pays like way more than what's worth.
Way too much to help her out.
She's like, no, Dan, like, stop doing that. And he's like, come on, I really want this. So finally she relents and lets him pay for it. And then he just like throws it in the trash, which is another weird thing. So they're right across the street from each other, and she wouldn't at one point see that he had just thrown the thing in the trash that he bought from her. It's one thing if you live far away and then you throw it, like, let's say in like one of those big dumpsters that like apartment complexes have or something like that. But like right across the street where like you could just walk 10 steps and you're at the other location, like she's not going to see that. So already we kind of get indication that this guy's bad news. Not like the bad news bears, more like the bad news bandits. I don't know. I guess because
or Fox News. Anyway, so
yeah, that too. And so like for what, okay, so just to jump ahead a little bit. So she wants to give him something because he helped her out. So he's like, well, my skateboard's broken. Can you fix it? And she's like, I don't know. It looks like it's pretty broken. But she's like, wait a minute. And lo and behold, there's a skateboard just hanging on her wall for no reason, apparently. And some hippie guy owned it, I guess, before, apparently from the 1970s or 60s. Were skateboards even a thing back then? I'm not even sure. But
well, skateboards have been around since the 50s, but in some way or another, I think. Or maybe, I don't know. I'm not sure. But maybe the 70s. I don't know. I'd have to look up the history of skateboards. But yeah.
And so she gives him this like hippie-ish, like it's got all like these, psychedelic. This kind of brings me to my second point here, is where I'm thinking the tone of the film gets really dark, but not really, because it's really lively. But in my headcanon, something really bad happened, and the rest of this movie is essentially a hallucination. Hence why I called my name the Hallucination Kid, as opposed to the Skateboard Kid. So he takes it.
Yeah, skateboards have been around really since the 40s.
Really? Okay. Well, all right.
In some way or another, not obviously as advanced as, Tony Hawk type skateboarding, but yeah.
Right.
So yeah.
Okay. Well, there you go. And so he basically like tries to do his own design, and he goes into his garage and he's doing a bunch of work, to kind of change the colors a little bit. And then he ends up going to sleep one night in the garage, and he's sleeping with the skateboard, I guess. I don't know, for some reason. And I guess, he likes it a lot. So, and then there's a thunderstorm.
I sleep with a skateboard every night. I don't know about you.
It was like his security skateboard instead of a security. Yes. Yes.
I hug a skateboard every night before I go to sleep. Yeah. It's this thing I do.
And so
I don't even skateboard. I never have, but I just sleep with a skateboard. It's like a thing that all the cool kids are doing.
Yep. And so he's sleeping with holding the skateboard or whatever, and a thunderstorm happens. And then here's what I don't understand. So he's kind of like, he's really trying to trick out his skateboard. He's putting like a motor on it. He's trying to do all this cool shit. And so lightning strikes the skateboard. Okay, understandable. And, I could understand, at least from a fictional point of view, of how lightning could supercharge this motor, even though it would just destroy the motor. But fine, I can sort of understand from the fictional point of view of all this electricity, bro, go straight into the motor, which makes the skateboard super fast. Okay, I get that. But giving the skateboard a personality and a mind from a lightning strike does not compute. Literally does not compute at this point. So how would that how would a lightning strike create a person? Like, I don't get it.
Okay, now I'm gonna give you an assignment here.
Okay.
Okay, there's a couple steps to this.
All right.
Okay, the first step, I need you to go buy a skateboard.
Okay, sure. All right.
Okay, you can probably do that. Anywhere. Just get a skateboard. It doesn't matter how big or small it is or anything.
Right. Okay.
How expensive, or just find a neighborhood kid that has a skateboard and just beat him up and take his.
Well, I'm not going to beat up a kid.
You just get a skateboard somehow.
Yeah.
I don't know how you got it. And you wait until the next thunderstorm.
Okay. Sleep outside.
And I want you to sleep outside with like some kind of lightning rod in your hand with the skateboard in your hand.
Yes.
And then just let lightning hit you in the skateboard and see what happens.
Right. And see what happens. And maybe it'd be like a Benjamin Franklin thing, or maybe they're trying to do a Frankenstein thing, because isn't that how Frankenstein, the monster?
And they had some kind of Frankenstein-ish movie, old movie on the TV. It wasn't Frankenstein because they probably couldn't afford the rights to it.
Okay.
And it was some public domain movie on the screen that was maybe it was another Frankenstein, movie from the silent era or something, but
Okay.
yeah.
Well, all right, that makes sense. So yes, maybe they were going for that. But even then, Frankenstein's monster didn't really have a personality, at least from what I remember. Maybe some of the later editions he did, but
I think the Frankenstein movie would have been a lot better if Frankenstein was voiced by Dom DeLuise.
Yeah. That would make it
instead of or whatever. All of a sudden, you had this cool, hip, voice.
Yeah, and so here's where the dark turn happened. So in my headcanon, what really happened was that the thunderstorm did indeed occur, and then lightning did indeed strike the skateboard and or Zack, and we are either experiencing a coma dream of Zack, where he thinks going forward everything is actually taking place, but it's really not, because he's just in the hospital bed in a coma, or he's just dead, and then he's just living this weird post-life millisecond of, apparently they've done some science. I guess some scientists have kind of found that there's a split second after someone dies that their consciousness still is like somewhat there. So maybe he's experiencing like an entire movie within the millisecond before he actually just completely goes off and dies. That's my headcanon. So it's really dark. So like right now, in reality, everybody's surrounding.
So the movie's kind of like a Vanilla Sky sort of situation.
Yes, that's my headcanon. So like in reality, everyone's surrounding his hospital bed, like rooting for him, like, come on, wake up, Zack. But in his mind, he's just having the time of his life with a skateboard that talks, does cool tricks, like flies. Apparently skateboards fly now. So why would that even be a thing? Like, if you're gonna make a skateboard movie,
I mean, we have covered in the past Jack Frost, where a snowman came to life, but it was the dad. So,
I mean, like you said, Snow Dad's better than No Dad, and I guess electric skateboard is better than dying. It's not really, doesn't really rhyme, but
skateboard with the voice of some guy from Cannonball Run is better than none.
There you go. And by none, we mean like not none, like the Catholic religion,
not like sister or anything.
No, not like that. We're not doing that kind of nuns on a skateboard. That would be another good movie though. Nuns on a skate. No, it would workshop the time. But and so this thing comes to life from a lightning strike somehow, and has a personality, a mind, abilities, strategy. All the things that come with the working mind are now present in this skateboard. Which another thing that bothers me. So why did they give the skateboard a face? How would a lightning strike not only create?
He'd already see what happened was he cut up this old like remote controlled toy or something.
Oh, okay,
or like old, kind of like a Batmobile or something that he cut up, and then he put the front grill of that on the front of his skateboard when he was doing his like souping up when he was pimping his skateboard,
Yeah, pimping his hit my ride, bro. And
Exhibit comes out randomly and starts helping out. It's a weird.
Oh my god! So the skateboard becomes his, in his words, his best friend, which is sad in a lot of ways, but also endearing at the same time. I don't know. And so so the problem that now that I'm talking about it, there actually are a few problems I have with this movie. So. And I think I actually was thinking of it while I was watching it, but since I was so highly medicated, I didn't really see anything wrong with it. I was just there for the ride, essentially. And then, by medication, I mean weed, but never mind. And then, you can edit that part out. And so what happened was, the problem I was having was there was almost no stakes. And by steak, I don't mean like the food stakes. There was almost like Zack was just constantly getting away from the bullies, like almost every single time. And it had a certain while, it's like, come on, like this is like he's just getting away each time. Like how finally
there were far too many scenes of him being chased by the guys and getting away. It's just like probably about a half of the movie was that, and it just didn't need to be there, honestly.
Like at one point, they finally did catch up and they broke the skateboard. Like, okay, finally something bad potentially happened, but not really.
Yeah,
because each time the skateboard broke like 2 or 3 times in this movie, and each time it just got back together somehow, and then it's like back day to day.
That's the DeLuise magic.
Yes,
I'm telling you.
The DeLuise dark arts, the dark arts of DeLuise,
the dark arts of DeLuise.
Yeah, that's a good song.
That's one of the sacred texts of a skateboard freaks.
Now my new song is gonna be the dark arts of Dom DeLuise, and I'm gonna use clips of this movie.
Yes.
Thank you for that. That's perfect.
Yes.
Oh my god, I'm like crying now from this. But yeah, fucking skateboard dude named Rip, mind you, he named him Rip for some reason. I guess because he rips through things real fast, and Rip does get him out of quite a few pickles throughout the movie. Too many, in my view. Yes, there is such a thing as too many pickles. And this is one example of that. What else happens, dude? I'm talking too much.
So basically, okay, what we have happening here is, okay, so big dirty Dan here. Dan Tanner, which is funny because it's the same name as Bob Saget's character from Full House, and one of the actors from Full House is in the sequel to this movie. So
okay, and also too, Biff Tanner was the villain in
Bad Back to the Future. Yeah,
and he had skateboarding in the Back to the Future. Interesting. Okay.
Yes. So, anyways, he's got this plan to get this like hidden gold that he has a map for, which I was just like, okay, he had a map the whole fucking time.
Right.
So, he's just too stupid to understand how to read it. And he wants to get basically he's trying to marry Maggie because he wants to get her land because the treasure's probably on her land. And and so he ends up there's another subplot that they don't even really go into. Maggie's daughter, who befriends Zack, and she also is friends with Rip as well.
Yeah, she's one of the first people to understand that he's actually
that's Chanel Workman's character, or Chanel Gray, depending on how you want to address her. Her name is Jenny, and Jenny has some kind of heart problem.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
that Maggie can't afford to take care of. So Dan's kind of like holding that over her head because he's going to help her out to be able to take care of Jenny so she doesn't die.
Right. So now Dan is committing sexual and or marital blackmail, which that's great, I guess. And
yeah. So basically he basically forces her to agree to marry him so Jenny won't die.
Yeah, that's great. Awesome.
There's nothing more wholesome than using the medical problems of a child to gain wealth. It's the most American thing you can do. Anyway, so
well, it is actually the most American thing.
Exactly. Oh, God bless America, land that I love.
Not so much anymore.
No. Stand beside her and guide her into darkness and despair.
To the darkness of dark arts.
Yes, the dark arts of DeLuise. Anyway, so the so Big Dan, basically there's some convoluted way that he ends up taking over the mortgage of the property or something, and
thing.
But he's going to try to marry her, but then they get the map out of this safe in his office after Zack overhears the whole plot and plan, which you never say out loud. Damn it, you stupid villains!
I know they're in the trailer drinking shots, and that's when he's deciding to discuss his grand plan with this idiot sidekick dude. I'm like, okay,
yeah,
like why don't you just project it further? Why don't you just take a big sign in the middle of town square and just I'm going to do something illegal? Like,
well, I mean, it's a total stereotype. Like, I mean, it's like in all the Bond movies where the villain is like, "This is what I'm going to do, James Bond, and this is how I'm going to do it, and this is how I'm going to kill you."
It's like, okay,
thanks for telling me how I can solve the day.
It's like, take away the element of surprise. Like, usually a victim is more I mean, I don't know. I never murdered anyone. Well, supposedly I haven't murdered anyone, but like, usually, you want your victims to kind of feel suspense. You don't want to walk them through the entire plot. Like, okay, so first we're going to take this car and we're going to steal it and we're going to drive about 45 miles east. And there's a water tower by there. Then we're going to shoot the water tower with the shotgun. And then the water's going to spill out. And the water's then going to spill into this river. But then the water's actually contaminated type of liquid. And then it's going to go into the water supply. And then it's going to hurt the fish. And then when you're fishing, by the way, the goldfish is going to go in there because the guy just pooped out the goldfish and it's fine. Don't worry, he didn't die. But now it's in real trouble because now it's in the polluted water. And then someone's going to catch the fish. Then they're going to cook the fish and eat it. And then they're going to get sick off the fish.
This is all part of the hadiths of the of the writing of
the hadith. Yes, the hadith. Is that what you said, hadith?
Yeah,
like the Islam. Yeah, it's the hadith of Dom DeLuise. Damn it.
Yes. So
sorry.
Anyways, And I also want to make sure that it's clear that us skateboard freaks do not believe in murder.
No, we don't. No, we do not. That's
or consuming goldfish. And
that's one of our religious diets. Yeah, we're not allowed to eat goldfish yet.
Yeah. Yes. It's not kosher to eat goldfish.
No,
I'm just gonna throw out everything.
Definitely not. No, especially not
yes.
live goldfish. Especially not.
No, But I mean, any other kind of fish are fine unless you're allergic, like I am. But
okay, sure.
Yeah.
Except for once a year, we do have a holiday where each person has to eat something that they're allergic to in order to like build immunity to the allergies. Hopefully, they won't die.
And bringing it all back to the goldfish thing and Timothy Busfield, who's in this, in the series West Wing, he was dating Allison Janney's character, and at one point she mentioned that she liked goldfish, but she was talking about the crackers.
Oh, okay.
But he bought her a goldfish. So
let's see, full circle of life.
Yes. So.
Anywho, sorry, I took you way off the track here.
Yes, but I just remembered that as we were talking about a goldfish, and I saw Timothy Busfield's name on my screen, and I'm like, wait,
wow.
So so basically, what ends up happening is he tricks her into agreeing to marry him the next day, like right away. So then he can I guess through marriage own the property or something. Because women don't have autonomy or whatever.
Right.
So
maybe not in this town.
I guess not. So he agrees to that. The wedding is happening, and this is after there was like a day like where they had dinner at the house of Zack and his dad.
Oh yeah,
what's his dad's name? Frank and Zack. So Jenny and Maggie had dinner there, and it was a weird situation where there was stuff that was, I think, supposed to be funny that wasn't funny.
It was because one thing, Frank had clown hair super glued to his head, or a wig or whatever.
Yeah.
And so he had to wear this the whole time during the dinner, and I guess he really just went all in on his clown role after that, because I can't do anything about it now, so I'm just gonna completely embarrass myself by acting really aggressively weird, like making all these weird
talking about the movie Alien, about stuff coming out of it was weird. So
I that made me uncomfortable, and then
yeah, this whole movie made me uncomfortable. Anyway, so then they have they're at the wedding, and they get the map to Jenny somehow through a scarecrow on top of Rip, and
sure, why not?
Yeah, and she points out to her mom before she says I do, and she's like the minister keeps saying, do you take so and so, blah blah blah, and it's and he keeps insisting on saying it, and she's like, I do not, totally. So yeah, and then Zack at one point comes in there, and he drops the cake on Dan, and he says, I now pronounce you man and cake.
Which doesn't make any sense, because if he's I guess it does make sense. Never mind. I would woman and cake.
Either way, it's a really lame line.
Yeah, it is.
But it's the most memorable line from the movie for some reason to me. And so then we get the situation where we find out that he owns he basically cashes in on the mortgage and basically owns her land or whatever, but it says that he owns the land and the dwellings, but it turns out that the money was inside this water tower that was on the land, like this little clubhouse water tower thing, and that's not a dwelling. So
yeah,
so he doesn't own it, and then in the end she gets all the money, and Frank and Maggie get married,
which
really fast. Yeah.
Well, yeah. How what is the duration of time in this movie? Like a few days, a few weeks? Like what are we talking here? And
he's I believe him. I mean, I understand love at first sight, but it seems like like it's just a few days later that they got married or something. I don't know.
I mean,
well, maybe sometime, because they did build another little water tower in front of the and spruce up the TV station. So
I guess he married her for the money because then she funded his TV station. So
yes,
he got the money too, but it wasn't because that was his reward. So he didn't have ulterior motives like Dan did. So then he was rewarded with generational wealth from his wife's side of the family, because that's what happens when you do the right thing. You just automatically come into money, and then
and that's how you survive in America, my friends.
Yes, you got to marry into wealth. That's terrible. You got to marry into wealth. Make sure you get a prenup right away before any shit goes down. And then if you get divorced, you're banking on that shit. You're making bank. So try it. Maybe, I don't know. That actually happened once to me. I for like a split second, I considered it. Like it was, I was at the mosque during Ramadan one year, and then every year they do like a sort of fundraising thing where they're like, hey, we got like this loan for this mosque, like $2 million loan. We need to pay it off. The guy is generous enough that he didn't charge interest on the loan. He just wants us to pay him back the exact amount.
Yeah.
Because in Islam, usury is actually illegal. It's not allowed. So,
yeah.
So, people are, they're pledging publicly, which that was weird. You're not really supposed to do that in Islam. You're not really supposed to flaunt your wealth, but whatever.
Yeah.
But there it is, the Americanization of Islam. There it is. It got influenced and it went into the religion. Okay. So, and so people are like pledging like $100, $500, $1,000, etc. I kid you not. This woman pledged $1 million. My ass is sitting there looking around, trying to see who was saying that. And I'm like, okay, that one. All right, try to turn on the charm, but no, I didn't do it. But other guys were joking too. They're like, yeah, who was that woman?
Yeah, darn it, Matt. We could have a lot better studio for our.
Oh, yeah, yep.
Yes.
I think I might know who it was. I think I might know who it was because Denny, one of the people we used to know back in our community, said that there was a Muslim woman in his neighborhood who drove like a Ferrari. So it's probably her.
Well, you could still go for it, my friend. Yeah,
I have to find out who she is, but I just point you.
Yeah, find out who she is and put on that charm.
Yep.
And become a sleazebag and get yourself some money here.
Yeah, there we go. Sorry, that was a weird tangent.
Weird aside, but hey, it's the American way.
Yeah.
And if nothing else, we learn from the world that, people who are greedy and selfish and, take advantage of people are the good people in this country.
Right. Yep.
They're the real true
hero
Christians.
Yes, they're the true Christians and true heroes of our fine land. There are a few points that I forgot. Oh yeah, so these are just doesn't really matter to the story anymore. But the leader of the pseudo skateboard gang was actually a son of Dan, and so he kind of learned his ways from his father. Being shady and just not caring about people and trying to take advantage of others.
Yes, he's much like Don Jr.
Yeah, pretty much. And Dan Jr. and Don Jr. Yes. Yeah. Sorry, for a second I was like, wait, his name was Dan. Oh, no, you mean, gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah.
Both. What we call that is double entendre in the industry of talking. Yes, I don't know.
Sure.
It's the industry thing. It's not just the regular speech thing. You got to be in the industry.
No, it's industry thing. It's like,
That's another song title, industry thing.
What industry are we talking about?
I don't know. Industry thing. That's the name of the song. There you go. You figure it out,
Yes. Oh boy. Any other thoughts about this movie?
I'm trying to just conjure up a few thoughts here. Well, there was, again, this is probably me. Probably me being porn brained for, my mind fucked up at an early age, being pornography for the first time when I was like 13 or 14 years old. But there was a moment where Maggie's like telling Zack, like, oh, you really helped me everyone deserves a reward. And I'm like, God damn it. Like, no, don't go there. Like,
It's like, Mrs. Robinson, are you trying to
But,
seduce
like,
me?
yeah, I'm like, no, let's not go there. That's not what she meant. It's like,
Yes.
like, and, oh God.
Yep.
I think that's it.
So-
I mean, I'll probably have some thoughts right after we get done recording, but right now I can't think of anything. So
Yeah, we're all good here. Yeah, so I have no other thoughts about this movie. We may or may not cover the sequel in the future,
which has nothing
along
to mind you with this one.
it has really no. It's a sequel in name only sort of thing, and similar plot, I guess. But anyways, yeah. Rest in peace, Rip, Dom DeLuise,
Right.
Our almighty prophet. Anyway, so
Oh my God.
the prophet of our prophet, and
The prophet of our prophet. Yes.
yes.
What if you had that in
So
religion where you have prophets of God, but then you have prophets of that prophet, and then you have a prophet of the prophet of the prophet, and then it just gets really confusing.
and that's how you get a mega church.
Well, yeah, that's true.
Yes. Anyways, to our parishioners of this podcast,
Parishioners. That's a good one. Parishioners of the podcast. That should be the name for our followers. Parishioners.
yes, parishioners.
Are you a religious podcast? No, we just used the word parishioner.
Oh,
It's like, oh, I came here to hear about, the spiritual meanings behind the Skateboard Kid, and we're talking about the dark arts of Dom DeLuise.
yes. So to our parishioners that are still listening, make sure you do us a favor. This is one of our tenets here.
Yes.
You need to go to Apple Podcast and give us a 5-star
Apple,
review.
that's like the Adam and Eve apple.
Yes.
Take
a bite of the apple and give us a 5-star review. Tell us how funny we are and how weird we are and how much you worship us. Anyway, so
Hopefully you laugh half as hard at our jokes as we do to our own jokes.
yes. And check out all2real2.com. It's got links to all of our stuff. All of our sacraments, which are which include things like links to Facebook,
Yes,
TikTok,
all the
Instagram,
all the godly things.
yes, and just share our show wherever you can. But yeah, if you give us a 5-star review, it does really help a lot to get our show out there and get people to know that we exist. And if you like it, share the show. You can proselytize the good word of all too real to on the street corners.
Yes.
In your local town.
Yes.
And yes. Just do it. And just remember, until next time, folks, I love you. I now pronounce you man and cake. And until next time. Oh yeah, and Sesame loves you too, by the way. I forgot that. And until next time, bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to All Too Real 2 podcast, a Cullen Park production. Produced and edited by Michael E. Cullen II. Music by Matthew Hawes. Subscribe and share the show. Visit us at cullenpark.com.